All right. Hello, hello. Bit of a late start to the stream tonight because I have this really cool thing called a real job. But yeah, we're back with more Death Battle as per usual. So last time we were in the middle of season 7. I don't think we're going to be finishing it tonight. We still have a few episodes to go. But that's the plan for tonight. Is we're just going to be watching more. So let me get everything set up here. Get this cool image off the screen. Bing, bang. Alright, hold on. I forgot to update the disclaimer. Whoops. Very professional stream. Ooh, yeah, just barely fits. There we go. Alright, anything else need to get set up? No, I think we're good. Avatar the Boys Eater.
This episode of Death Battle is brought to you by Miller Lite. The world is obviously a bit strange right now, but beer makes it better.
All right.
Like an ice-cold, delicious
Pandemic
Miller
had
Lite.
just
Cheers
happened.
to staying safe, keeping in touch, and great tasting beer.
Miller Lite. Great taste with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. However you and your friends are enjoying Miller time this summer, you can have the original
I
light
love
beer
beer.
delivered by going to MillerLite.com/.
Here we go. So true.
With all those cool anime heroes out there, there's bound to be plenty with angsty
So
daddy
this
issues.
is...
You mean like you?
Don't be silly, Wiz. I'm not an anime character. Like Prince Zuko, the firebending
So
hunter
Zuko
of the
versus
Avatar,
Todoroki
the last airbender.
is
Shoto Todoroki,
an
the prodigal
episode
son of fire and ice from My Hero Academia.
He's Wiz and I'm
that people
Boomstick.
have feelings
And it's our
about.
job
People
to
like
analyze their
myself.
weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
You'll see.
Water, earth, fire.
Also,
air.
this
The
should be a
four
good time to
elemental nations
mention
once
the
coexisted
Boomstick's
peacefully.
dad
Then everything
joke.
changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Yeah, the cranky old
There's
going
gonna
to
be a
Lord
lot of
went
them
and
this
conquered
episode.
Basically the whole
It's
world.
basically
And
any
100
joke.
years later, the equally powerful Master of Fire Ozai continued that tyranny. Many
I mean,
believe
this
his
one's
rule
actually a
would
bit
one day
deeper
pass to either his daughter
connected than,
Azula or
like,
his son
surface level.
Zuko.
Yeah, Fire Dad was way too ego crazy for that. He drove Azula mad, even though he did clearly favor her. Poor little Zuko got screwed over from the beginning.
Can you imagine your dad saying that while your sister was born lucky, you were just lucky to be born?
I can't imagine my dad saying anything to me.
Oh, right.
There we
well,
go.
despite this,
So
Zuko
yeah,
was
the
desperate to
Boomstick's
prove
dad
himself.
joke.
What a
Any
fine
joke
work
where
ethic.
But
you
he
make
screwed up by talking
fun
out
of
a turn in a big
Boomstick's
boy
dad
meeting.
being
So naturally,
gone.
his dad took him aside,
Um,
sat him down, and taught him
not
the
that the
importance
joke's
of
offensive.
respecting others.
it just gets
oh, wait,
tired,
Just kidding. He burned his friggin' face off.
and it's gonna
Holy
be
shit.
With his new
there a
scar
lot
came a new
this
mission.
episode.
Zuko would hunt down the elusive Avatar, the one threat to his nation's rule, to prove himself to his father and regain his honor.
Which is just a nice way of saying he was banished so he could never come back. Just like my dad didn't.
Though, frankly, Zuko did have the talent and training he needed to capture someone even as powerful as the Avatar.
Damn right, he's a fighting pro. The dude's strong enough to shatter metal chains with a kick. He's super skilled with martial arts, dual swords, and oh yeah, firebending.
As a firebender, Zuko harnesses the light of the sun to summon flames from thin air. Wherever fire remains alight in an area that's not too cold, he can manipulate or bend it to his will.
I mean, if I had to pick between swirling water around, tossing a few rocks, or farting hot air all the time, I would definitely go with firebending. It literally means you're a living flamethrower.
Plus, it's surprisingly versatile. Aside from simply creating, launching, and moving flames, firebending can be used to heat objects, melt through ice prisons, and even defy gravity.
Is that guy flying? With fire? Awesome! How does that even work?
Well, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's third law. By creating a rapid series of explosions
they
an
do
inch or
in,
so away from the palm, the
Katekyo
air in between
Hitman
the hand
Reborn.
and fire
Good
is
series.
launched toward the user, thereby creating propulsion.
Yeah, firebending isn't just about creating fire. It's
I
about creating
think
a
there's
bunch
like
of it.
6 or
So
7
Zuko
of them
can
in
make
this
large,
episode.
long-lasting
So not
balls
that
of
many.
flame to protect himself
But
and
a
keep
lot,
enemies at a
still.
distance. That stuff's hot, you know.
Yeah, it's fire. You know, I've actually rigged up my arm to replicate the technique of firebending. Dummy, if you'd please.
Another test. How thrilling.
Now, this isn't as simple as just pointing and shooting. Firebenders fuel their flames with their own breath. And using it at all requires a fierce understanding of martial arts.
What are you trying to do, the Macarena?
Zuko's favorite form, the dancing dragon, draws primarily from northern Shaolin Kung Fu.
That's a Chinese martial art that's all about agility, wide stances, and aggressive attacks. A perfect mix of speed and strength.
Like this. Whoa!
Wiz, why?
Ha ha ha.
Anyway, the fire that benders like Zuko can generate is extremely hot, capable of melting through a cast iron
I
door.
do like
hot.
that bit.
This would need to be over 1,200 degrees Celsius.
And while Sozin's comet was boosting his powers, Zuko's uncle Iroh blasted apart the giant outer wall of Ba Sing Se. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. Until Iroh comes a-knockin'. I mean, that's like the thickest wall I've ever seen. Second only to the emotional walls between me and my dad.
Even
There's
without
another
Sozin's
one.
comet, which only appears once every 100 years, Zuko has more than enough firepower to level a building. That's no laughing matter for any person or building.
He's even quick enough to catch lightning and use his fire powers to redirect it wherever he wants it to go. Kapow! Suck it, Dad! Oh, shoot, wait, did he just shoot his dad with lightning?
Zuko's quest for the Avatar led him down a different path than he expected. Inspired by his kind uncle and the Avatar himself, he joined the heroes on a new journey, one of self-discovery.
Yeah, turns out he didn't need his dad's approval after all. He just needed to approve himself. Now that's character development.
Zuko's definitely had a heated redemption arc, and now that he's the Fire Daddy, Fire Lord, his honor keeps burning brighter.
Are you crushing on Zuko?
What? No.
Yeah, you are. It's okay, Wiz. Everybody does.
Hello, Zuko here.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk
Welcome
about
to a
that.
world where the supernatural is natural.
So
where
one of the
more than
writers
80%
of
the
this
population
episode
possesses
wrote that
superhuman
in
abilities
reference to
known
her
as
childhood
quirks.
crush on
And
Zuko.
because everyone loves to game a system, there's
But
a superhero
having
leaderboard.
Wiz
At
say
the
that about
very
a
top of it stands the
16-year-old
ultimate
is a
hero,
bit,
All Might.
you
All
know.
Might's feats and reputation were incredible, a true symbol of peace for everyone. That is, everyone except the hero perpetually stuck at rank number 2.
That's Endeavor, and he vowed to surpass All Might. But his literal firepower was just never enough.
But if he couldn't do it himself, he would vicariously through his own heir. Thus, he made the desperate decision to arrange a quirk marriage.
Basically, he paid a family off to get a wife with an ice quirk and popped out kids until he got the right quirk combo. Gross. Feel like I need a shower.
After 4 attempts, they finally spawned the child he was looking for, Shoto Todoroki.
Half cold, half hot. Literally, right side's ice like his mom, and left side's fire like his dad.
Endeavor quickly separated young Todoroki from his supposedly lesser siblings, ruthlessly training him to become the most powerful hero in history.
Surprise! Things didn't go so well. He drove Shoto's mom totally insane until she broke.
Pouring boiling water on her son's left side, because it reminded her too much of him.
Okay, this is getting super heavy for a colorful cartoon about superpowers and frog people.
Fortunately, Todoroki never truly fell for
Yeah,
his
there's
father's
some
disgusting
connections
manipulation.
here.
He attended UA High School, a hero academy, and worked to use his power for good.
But just his mom's power. Why use fire when you can stick it to the man? The man being a big scary fire dad over there. Anyone else notice his facial hair is made of fire? How's that work?
From his right side, Todoroki can summon intense bouts of cold, freezing the air or even creating massive
Although I will
glaciers
say,
of ice.
Talk about
Madaka Box
overkill.
did the
And like
character
a
with
good
fire
AV
and ice
team,
powers
Shoto
thing
named this
first,
super iceberg
and did it
something
better.
badass. Heaven-piercing ice
d-
wall.
definitely no
Oh, you
personal
can
bias
just taste
there.
the self-loathing.
He can
Totally.
create sheets of ice to slide on or propel himself forward as if riding a Heeley. While he can't manipulate the ice after he's launched it, he has extremely precise control over its initial release. He can even freeze opponents so thoroughly that they are frozen both inside and out, effortlessly causing necrosis and shattering body parts.
Seriously, that's so dark. It's chilling. Talk about having a cold shoulder.
But Todoroki has a problem. While he is highly resistant to cold, he's not immune.
Here I am. Guess I'll die.
Oh, I won't be needing you this time, dummy.
Genuine joy.
Casting too much ice
Yeah.
from his right side will cause his body temperature to drop until he falls unconscious, potentially even suffering frostbite.
I mean, it takes freezing an entire building before side effects even start to show up, so it's not all. Why'd you even make the stupid robot?
That's why Endeavor chose to mix ice with fire. See, he had the same problem with his own fire quirk, but with cold and hot combined, they could counter each other's weaknesses.
Thankfully, Shoto made a friend who helped show him that his fire wasn't his father's, it was his own. You tell him, Deku. Finally, the full power of Icy Hot was unleashed. Hey, you think you could help my back? Just hurts from carrying the show.
While he's much less proficient with fire given his lack of experience with it, this half of his quirk is identical to Endeavor's. His fire is hot enough to melt Tetsu Tetsu, whose body can turn to steel, which means it can reach temperatures over 1600 degrees.
He can blast fire like a raging inferno, form walls of flame to block off areas, and use his
Man.
evil dad's signature technique, flash fire.
My Hero
Flash
Academia
fire
is
is a
pretty
method
cool.
of compressing flame under super
And
hot
apparently it's like
temperatures
the
before
manga's
releasing it in a
ending,
single
like
strike.
soon.
Endeavor
Like
can
they're on
also
the
shape his
final
fire, use it
bunch
to
of
cling to walls,
chapters,
and fly.
I think.
But even if he is a huge dick, Endeavor was kinda right. Fire and ice combined put both quirks at their best. Shoto's one of the best in his class, taking hits from a tank like Deku.
I mean, it's
fighting
been-
top-tier
it's been
foes
10
like Stain,
years.
and keeping up with classmates like Bakugo and Tokoyami, who can block Kaminari's electricity.
So not too
And while he's often
shabby.
criticized for relying too much on his quirk, Todoroki is incredibly smart and a quick thinker, reading and setting traps for his opponents in the blink of an eye.
And after all that craziness, he finally patched things up with his mom, and somehow even inspired his dad to try and be a better person. What a nice story. I wish he could inspire my dad too. Not Mama, though. She's already perfect.
Well on his way to becoming a successful hero, Shoto Todoroki no longer fights in spite of his father, but for himself and the sake of others.
I wanted to. I'll be a hero.
All right, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all
Yeah.
possibilities.
But first, let me tell you about Blue Chew.
All
This
right.
episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Blue Chew.
Were they?
Guys,
Did they show
remember
the
when you were
sponsor
always
before? I
ready
think they did. The
go?
male performance.
Dot-
Whoa. Uh-oh. 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 Come on.
.com prom-
There we go.
A villain? You'll pay for that.
No, wait. I'm not the bad guy here. I mean, not anymore.
Your actions say otherwise. Fire, like my father. I'll prove I'm better than both of you.
What's the matter? Melting under pressure? He's just...
Like me.
Corny. Oh. That's more than an appropriate Zuko voice. That's Dante freaking Bosco himself as Zuko. And they actually got to credit him properly this time. No! Cabbage guy!
My cabbages!
I never intended
He
to
can't
finish you
escape.
with fire. You could obviously block it. But not this. It's over.
I don't care how much power you have. I know who I am. I will win!
Then I'll have to go beyond.
That shot of Todoroki's eye might just be the best animated thing in the episode. Looks better than
I am the Fire
that.
Lord. I will win this for my honor!
Although that also looks pretty good. Welp.
Apologies.
Okay, talk about cool.
Alright, the
as
big
hell.
criticism
That
a
was
lot of people
epic.
have this fight
I'm
is that
breathing here.
Todoroki should have
Both
said, "That's
Todoroki
rough,
and
buddy,"
Zuko held solid
at the end.
advantages over the other. Zuko's martial arts, athleticism, and lightning fast
But
reflexes
yeah,
meant
the
that if he could
animation,
get close to Todoroki,
it
he could
felt
likely end
like
the, fight
the
pretty quick.
sprite
But
puppet.
Shoto's no slouch.
The sprite
The guy
puppets
may be
felt
better at long
really
range, but he's
stiff
been in scraps
and
before.
weirdly
Like
animated.
with the super fast, super deadly hero killer Stain. And with all that
Like, it
ice
definitely
popping up everywhere
felt
and his
like
own
a-
super
like a
sliding and
season
boosting skills,
5
Shoto made it hard
animation.
for Zuko to get close for long.
Plus, the speed difference wasn't all that drastic. Todoroki's fellow student Tokoyami's Dark Shadow blocked Kaminari's electricity after it had been fired. Quirks are not magic, and there are very few ways for electricity to travel through the air. Lightning is essentially an ionized path that electricity travels through. Kaminari's quirk must use the same method.
Dark Shadow blocked Kaminari, Bakugo dodged Dark Shadow, and Todoroki can match Bakugo in a fight. Bada bing, bada boom, that's lightning fast reflexes, baby.
While Zuko certainly had more control over fire, Todoroki
Yeah.
could easily repel his firebending with his own flames, not to mention the clear difference in temperature. Zuko may be skilled with fire, but
I like
he's
the
not immune
matchup,
to it. Nor did he have
but
any
it's not my
reliable
favorite
counter
animation.
for fast and massive ice attacks.
We don't even need to bust out the calculator for this one, Wiz. That stadium is circled by a 4-kilometer trek.
And also,
That's
like,
huge.
wow,
And the
the guy
edgy
with
ice wall
just
covered
fire
almost half
lost
of
to
it
the
in
guy
less
with
than a
fire
second.
and
Zuko
ice.
didn't
Who could
have
have seen
kind
that
of power
coming?
spread.
Yes, I know fire melts ice, but not instantly when it comes to gigantic glaciers. Plus, firebending becomes much more difficult in cold temperatures. Sure, Zuko's melted through ice prisons before, but only ones where he could still move or at least breathe. Remember, firebending requires breath and movement. When Azula was trapped in an ice prison so compact she couldn't move or breathe, she was helpless.
But like, Shoto could just freeze over Zuko's insides anyway. No way he was surviving that.
Zuko might have been an admirable bender and adorable fan favorite, but Todoroki's overwhelming ice, versatile defense, and incredible power were just too much
Wiz,
to
can you
handle.
please stop talking about
Zuko
Zuko?
aimed for success, but his opponent Shoto put him on ice.
The winner is Shoto Todoroki.
Thanks for watching this episode of Death Battle. Come back next week to see previews of our upcoming matchups. If you want to watch more stuff, you can click the boxes right around here, and you can always pick up some DB merch at store.roosterteeth.com.
Oh, but next time is kind of a cool one. So, it's Flash versus Sonic, but we all know that wouldn't be much of a contest. So this is I think the first time they do this, where it's specific iterations
Thanks
of
to
a
Blue Chew for
character.
sponsoring this episode. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis.
That's right. And what's best is you can take them during the day, at night, or even on a full stomach.
The fact they're chewable makes speed. It's the ultimate sensation on the human body.
And today, we're pitting together two of the fastest characters out there.
With these two, speed is far more than simply moving fast. Wally West, the fastest Flash from DC Comics.
Yeah.
And Sonic from Archie Comics, the most supersonic Sonic of all the Sonics. He's whizzing
This was specifically
boomstick.
because
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and
these are
skills to find out
the
who would
most
win
powerful
a
versions
death
of
battle.
each character, like by far.
The year was 1985,
So obviously,
and the
like,
multiverse was in crisis.
They're gonna
Infinite
do
Earths were on
Sonic
the brink
versus
of
Flash.
total annihilation.
This is the way they
But
have
one
to
man
do it
could
for it to
save
be
the day
fair.
by running really, really, really fast. The Flash. Ah!
To save everything and everyone, Barry Allen sacrificed his life.
But the Flash wasn't all gone. Barry had a sidekick. You might say a protege.
Protege.
Wally West.
Despite the impressive amount of coincidences Barry needed to gain his speed, many others have possessed the powers of the Scarlet Speedster. But for Wally, his own coincidence is unparalleled.
Let's see. President of the Flash fan club, nephew to Flash's girlfriend who introduced him, visited while Flash had a chemical lab set up exactly like it was when he got his powers. Then, just like Barry, Wally got struck by lightning that knocked him into the chemicals and boom, Flash powers. I would say this kid was super lucky, but he did get struck by lightning.
The true reason? Because Speed Force, a dimension of infinite kinetic energy which all Flashes draw their power from.
And the DC writer's favorite scapegoat for retcons.
With his newfound ability, Wally joined Barry's crime-fighting heroics as Kid Flash. Strong of head and light of heart, he was more than
The
a
best
sidekick.
part about the
He
Speed
was a
Force
surrogate
is that
son.
So when Barry went poof,
it's like-
naturally Wally
it's
stepped
literally
up to be
just
the next Crimson
like
Comet
the
himself.
Force from
As
Star
the
Wars,
Flash,
but
stop doing that.
speed.
Wally obviously possesses incredible speed, easily surpassing that of light. He can run non-stop for multiple days.
Forget running. This guy looks at reality and spits in its face before giving it a swirly.
Wally can manipulate each and every one of his molecules to, for instance, survive the inside of a black hole. Barry even once
Whoa.
regenerated from a cloud of gas.
I bet he never has any trouble with NARBs.
Narbs?
No apparent reason boners? They're devious. Always pumping up where you least expect them.
Wally can create tornadoes, toss lightning, and heal from deadly
glad
blows.
we're just
These
ignoring that
techniques
one.
are rooted in scientific theory and often require a mathematical mindset. For example, by vibrating his body at very precise frequencies, he can turn invisible, phase through objects, tear things apart while phasing through them, and even enter fourth dimensional space.
So you're saying he'd never be able to do any of this if he was dumb?
Well, that's exactly what I decided to find out when I laced your beer with cosmic kinetic energy. It'll kick in later. With a touch, Wally can steal another speed and use it for himself. Specifically, he can take a person's kinetic energy, instantly stopping them in their tracks or even freezing them for centuries, even
my
from those
God.
who are not linked to the Speed Force like Superman.
And his infinite mass punch can knock you across the whole planet.
Applying the laws of relativity, as Wally's fist approaches light speed, its mass technically grows to an infinite degree, striking with kinetic energy equivalent to a white dwarf star, or about 2.6 octillion tons of force. In fact, increasing the vibrational speed even further could break the universe.
The biggest nuke ever tested was 50 megatons. One punch from Wally is like 40 million of those.
Even more wild, Wally can change his vibration frequencies to affect alien energies that do not exist in his own reality.
How much prep
It's how he
time
helped
does
take
Frank
out these
get in that
aliens called
matchup?
quantum mechanics.
Beings far beyond any physical dimension and immune to
'Cause
ordinary
that matters.
physics.
So, like a prism, Wally changed Superman's heat vision into super space magic to blast them all.
All this is absolutely insane to contemplate, but it is important to remember that Wally is somehow still human.
And a huge dork, but a fun one, not like Wiz over here. I mean, he got married and has kids, so...
Boomstick, I'm married.
What?
To my work. And
Lore.
Wally's family became sort of a cosmic lightning rod rooting him to reality when he time travels. Right, Boomstick? Stick, you can time travel. Isn't that fascinating?
I feel like you're trying to give me the runaround. Speaking of which, that's how he time travels, by running.
Should Wally become unmoored, he can outrun the Speed Force itself, even running to the end of reality where
Wally
the
was
concept
so fast
of
he could
death
think
no
multiple
longer
thoughts at
exists.
One time, he beat these
Bro
gambler
got
gods in a
ADHD.
race across the universe, and they could teleport.
To win, Wally achieved trans-time velocity in less than 1 unit of Planck time, which is so infinitesimal, it is the absolute edge of measurable time itself. He was so fast, reality does not have any means to calculate or even comprehend his speed.
That's f***ing crazy. But for some reason, Wally still felt
He has
unworthy
since
of the
gotten
Flash
faster.
mantle. Come on, man. Look at everything you can do.
Until one day, Barry returned.
Because Speed Force.
To determine the fastest Flash of all, Wally and Barry raced each other. This simple contest nearly tore apart the entire
He survived
multiverse.
the big
But our
crunch.
kid Flash finally
That's
let
me
it all
when
out
I'm
and won.
hungry.
Even with those unimaginable feats, Wally's greatest challenge was proving his worth to himself.
He's not just another Flash. He's the fastest being in the multiverse.
Dude, as soon as you finish your drink, turn yourself in.
Got me again, Flash.
I love him.
Many, many years from now, Earth will be no more.
Yep, because these hentai aliens are gonna drop a bomb that kills everyone and transforms all the animals into furries.
Welcome to Mobius,
No.
the world of Sonic Maurice Hedgehog, leader of a guerrilla anthropomorphic freedom fighting group at war with the cybernetic empire of Ivo Robotnik, aka Dr. Eggman.
So, yeah, comic book Sonic is a little different from
God,
the video
Archie
game.
Sonic is so
While leading his
fucking
Care Bear
strange.
Viet Cong in the fight against obesity and male pattern baldness, Sonic became a super skilled fighter. And he wasn't doing it for nothing. Robotnik had turned his entire family into robot slaves. What a dick.
Sonic is fast as always, but in this timeline, fast takes on new meaning. He's quick enough to create tornadoes, cause after images, turn invisible, phase through objects, and boost past light speed in the blink of an eye. He can dodge lightning and even move in between the raindrops of a downpour.
Look at this.
It's like that
grabbed water
meme of-
and threw it like a baseball in less
The
than
meme of the guy dodging the
0.000000,
raindrops.
a lot of zeros in a millisecond.
says, "I'm
He
a
can run
Toho
around the
player."
entire cosmic interstate in less than a day, and that's a highway that cuts through the multiverse. How does he get that fast on an all chili dog diet? I mean, they give me the runs, but not that way. Ugh.
He could reverse a black hole generator with his momentum alone, which then imploded, somehow sending him 849,000 light years away. Sonic's speed is so impressive that he can even move through stopped time. Let me repeat that. Time was frozen and he could still move. There is no earthly method of measuring such
Oh yeah,
impossibility.
Mega Man
In the
is
words of the
canon
comic itself,
to
Sonic's
comic
speed
Sonic.
is incalculable.
I know the Archie Sonic comics can get weird, like really weird, but that's just crazy.
You call it crazy, I call it chaos.
Just like my conception, I'm told.
No. I mean chaos as in the Chaos Force, an extra-dimensional field of infinite and omnipotent energy. This chaos takes physical form on Mobius in the shape of magical power rings and perfectly hewn emeralds.
And Sonic loves collecting those rings. By the time he'd scooped up 1 billion of them, the gods were so impressed they put him in a book of world records and gave him a permanent force field that makes him way tougher than anybody else.
Along with shielding his spirit and mind. But that's not all. By gathering a large amount of chaos energy, he can transform into the almighty golden Super Sonic.
Eat your heart out, Akira Toriyama.
Super Sonic
Yeah.
possesses incredible power. He can use chaos energy for defensive barriers and beams capable of shattering moons.
Somehow, he's even faster than before, and he's totally invincible. Like when he fought the demigod and possible power drink, Enerjack. This guy could rip people apart molecule by molecule. But no dice with Super Sonic.
Like the video game, Sonic's super forms have a time limit, and now this limit can even be cut short through overuse of power. However, he battled Enerjack from day into night, so it must be able to naturally last much longer than the games, potentially over an hour.
But that's not even his final form. If he's got something as good as a Super Emerald
I
around,
forgot
he can
Cyborg
go
Morgan
Ultra.
Freeman is in the
Ultra
comics.
Sonic appears to possess all of Supersonic's abilities and then some. Specifically, he can tap into the raw magic of chaos.
Yeah, there's a bunch of wizards running around Archie's Sonic Land. Like this mammoth mogul guy. Turns out they're all using the same chaos force.
Ultrasonic can manipulate matter at an atomic level, changing its fundamental makeup.
Turning air to water, moving rocks around, opening portals across space-time, that kind of stuff. But while he's never changed other living beings before, it's not totally out of the question. Right, dummy?
You're correct, Boomstick. Although Ultrasonic is not as proficient, this ugly monster wizard
Yeah.
uses the same chaos
It's-
magic,
it's
and he changed a
basically
partial
all
robot
different
rabbit
stuff.
into a full regular rabbit. A sentence so absurd,
From
it
regular
likely
Sonic.
damaged my internal processor.
Don't worry, it was never great. I took it from a refrigerator. Ultrasonic has altered his own body to better traverse difficult terrain. With all this in mind, he could theoretically be able to change the molecular makeup of others too. Just like this.
Ow.
But if changing molecules isn't crazy enough, we need to talk about something even crazier.
Chaos itself. Chaos magic is typically used for one of three things: increasing physical ability, providing lost knowledge, and granting wishes.
Like a freaking genie. Sonic's wish to reverse brainwashing, turn back time, revive the dead, and even rewrote all reality in his whole multiverse with a Kamehameha Chaos Beam. Okay, if he can literally
Oh, yeah.
just wish his problems away,
Him and
you'd
Mega
think
Man
he'd have way
retconned
less
the
trouble
world.
dealing with a fat ginger named after breakfast food.
Honestly, he rarely did, but Sonic's a glutton for adventure and action. So over the years, he and the Good Doctor formed an unhealthy codependent relationship.
Just like
Dungeon
us.
meshing,
Life's not
true.
the same without his oval-shaped enemy to beat up on. So they're back at it every chance they get. Come on, guys, just get a room already.
But after being defeated so many times, both Eggman and Mogul independently came to the same conclusion. By collecting so many rings and emeralds over the years, Sonic has become a literal embodiment of chaos itself. As in, he's a variable that cannot be accounted for, a wrench in the cogs of reality. Without him even realizing it, fate bends to him.
You know you're a badass when the most powerful Chaos Wizard out there decides the only way to beat you is to just wait until you die of old age.
It's ridiculous, it's absurd, it's unexplainable.
It's Sonic the freaking Hedgehog.
Ooh, I like to hang, but I got a juice.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, let me tell you about a phone and provider that's as fast as the Mr. Teeth is
Don't care.
upcoming the new Sam
AT&T
com/Galaxy.
$9.99 for a limited time.
But right now, it's time for a death battle!
You really think you can outrun what? I'm the fastest man alive. Oh yeah, cherry flavored
Probably
chunk?
is.
I'm the fastest thing alive.
There's a, it's Sonic has a multiverse in the comics, so
Wanna bite? What's the matter? You too slow? Don't mess with the Hog's dogs!
they also made this Sonic's lines a little cornier to give him more of a comic book feel.
Say, Uncle! Flash fact! I'm out of your league! Whoa! Thanks for the speed! Huh? A super emerald? I'll show you! Surprise!
So cool.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
I like how he even taps his foot really fast.
Nice try, but I'm invincible when I'm like this. You've mastered speed, but I've mastered fate, and I wish you gone forever!
Okay, that line's a little dumb.
Chaos control! Linda, Di, Iris, help me now! Huh?
Whoa.
KO! So that happened.
Yeah, what happened exactly?
Well, this matchup was
Whoa.
incredibly complex. Given their speeds were impossible to calculate, speed
Also, they
alone was,
didn't
ironically,
explain it in the
somewhat of a
analysis, but
non-factor in
the
comparison.
flaming head thing is what happens when Wally becomes
Sonic in his base form
unmoored
didn't really stand a chance
from
against Wally. Sure,
time.
he did seem to survive being launched 849,000 light years into an alien planet by a black hole imploding. However, considering he's been knocked out by far less, black holes are already imploding stars, and it seems some snow also inexplicably survived the trip. It's probably more likely the black hole acted as a sort of wormhole in its last moments and sent Sonic directly there. But if we assume Sonic was indeed blasted through space, a black hole's last moment usually results in an abrupt detonation equivalent to
Source,
5 trillion
Forbes.
tons of TNT. Impressive, but the infinite mass punch could still deliver over 2 quadrillion times more power.
But Sonic's super forms were a different story. They had answers to almost all of Wally's skills. His chaos energy could replenish stolen speed, he was invincible, and he had friggin' wish powers.
Personally, I was expecting the opposite result. Against almost anybody else, Archie's version of Sonic is practically unbeatable. But across a greater percentage of possible scenarios, Wally just happens to be the exception.
He had every counter he needed too. The speed steal wouldn't stop Supersonic, but Wally still got that stolen speed for himself.
Super and Ultrasonic were essentially batteries of unlimited kinetic energy.
I think
Wally
this is
could
the
pull
first
from. Even with their
instance
speeds
of-
being incalculable, this meant Wally could ensure he was faster.
Mm,
Plus, Wally performed a lot more of those
one
incalculable
character
speed feats
of
than
it
Sonic
being
ever did. So he technically held an
one
experience
infinity
advantage in that
versus
field.
multiple
Chaos Wish Power would
infinities
be an
of power.
insta-win against basically anybody, but Chaos Magic uses physical energy. And guess what? Wally could phase through reality warping energy.
And jump through time or vibrate to a higher spatial dimension to avoid Sonic altogether. Even though he had no way to take down Sonic's super forms, Wally has proven capable of effortlessly moving and vibrating at top speeds for days on end.
So it wasn't too hard for him to just wait out the super forms and strike at the first good opportunity.
And when it came to Ultrasonic's ability to alter atomic structures, Wally possessed perfect control over his own individual molecules.
But hey, Sonic's the embodiment of chaos. Fate automatically bends to him or whatever.
Except Wally has broken fate a few times himself. The best example being when he ran to the end of reality and forced the concept of death itself to die.
Because Speed Force.
Simply put, Sonic's hypothesized nature as
There's
an
also a
anomaly
lot
in
of,
reality
like, corner
just
boxes
wasn't
for
enough
all the
protection against
nerds
someone
out
who could
there.
also break the rules of reality.
And remember, when Wally raced Barry, their speed almost tore apart the multiverse.
Both these characters understandably seem overpowered to an extreme fault, but it's important to remember that in their respective worlds, the story comes first. Sonic was impressive, improbable, inexplainable, but Wally had the power, the counters, and the speed he needed to pull ahead in this absolutely mind-bending battle. Oh, the drink is kicking in.
Whiz! I ran to Jupiter! I'm a god! A speed god!
Incredible. Tell me, what cosmic insight have you learned?
Just one thing. Well, Sonic didn't know it. The writing was on the wall, E.
The winner is the Flash.
Thanks for
God,
watching this episode of Death
Boomstick
Battle.
is just
Come back next week to see
puns.
previews of our upcoming matchups. If you want to watch more stuff, you can click the boxes right around here, and you can always pick up some DB merch at store.roosterteeth.com.
Oh yeah, next is Winter Soldier versus Red Hood. But before that, hey, they got sponsored to do this thing. So in addition to the 20 episodes that they're already doing for the season, here's one more that they have to do.
This episode of Death Battle is made possible by the Amazon original series, The Boys, only on Prime Video.
I just noticed I never updated my stream, what I was doing. Hold on.
Hello, and thank you for joining us in this special program, brought to you in part by Vought Industries, the same Vought family where the Seven call home.
And we're joined by one of those famous superheroes, Black Noir. Okay, you know these guys have an Amazon original series, The Boys, only on Prime Video.
These heroes are formidable, but today we will learn just how powerful they truly are.
In a
Seven
simulated
boys,
battle
Snow
royale.
White.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to
Yeah,
analyze
this
their
is
weapons, armor, and
a
skills
simulated
to find out who
battle
would win
royale.
a
That's
death battle.
a big ad, but it's technically a death battle, so we can watch it.
A-Train, Queen Maeve, The Deep, Translucent, Starlight, Black Noir, Homelander, Earth's Most Mighty, Champions of the Innocent. They are the Seven.
It's their job to end crime in America and watch over the world.
Led by this country's righteous savior, Homelander. Now, we already know he's far more powerful than the others, so his participation in today's simulated battle will be a bit different.
He can survive every known weapon on the planet, and most nukes these days reach 1.5 megatons of TNT. He can fly faster than an F-16 Fighting Falcon and throw a baseball into orbit. But he doesn't really need to do much when his laser vision can slice up a whole room of villains in seconds.
Some might say that's lazy, but I call it efficient. Also, he always makes time for selfies with the fans. That's a real American hero.
Who's the real hero?
But our friends at Vought control over 200 other superheroes, so you can bet your dick the rest of the seven are the cream of the crop.
And you obviously can't put a team like this
One thing
together
I
without
do
some
like
massive
about
corporate
this
conglomerate making all the decisions.
is that
I know,
it's
right? I'm kind of jealous. They're raking it in with
It's
movies, and have you
like
seen the action figures? There's more than
in
one way they're making a
universe.
killing, if you know what I mean. But I'm sure the real reward is all those people you save, right, Black Noir?
so they're like playing it up like
There's
they're
no better
actually
example of
sponsored
heroics than
by
Queen
Vought
Maeve,
from
a
The
longtime
Boys.
veteran of the team.
She's super strong and an expert fighter. She can power through a ton of pain, like when all the bones in her arms shattered while saving a school bus full of kids. She's bulletproof, armored van-proof, and ego-proof.
With the biggest heart on the team, she'll never leave an innocent person behind.
Of course, Black Noir here is the true martial arts expert of the team.
Don't pass by his upcoming film, Insurrection.
And don't pass by A-Train, because you can't. You literally can't pass him, he's way faster than you.
With a top recorded speed of 371 meters per second, well over the speed of sound, A-Train is fast enough to instantly kill a person just by running into them. Theoretically, of course.
Too bad he's had a hard time with drug abuse. That Compound V stuff might boost his speed, but I don't know if a heart attack is worth it. Jesus! You gonna clean that up?
And then there's the Deep. He can talk to fish, breathe underwater, and that's it. He may have sexually assaulted the new hire when she arrived, but like a true hero, he apologized publicly instead of to her, absolutely meant what he said, naturally changed his ways overnight, and was shipped off to Ohio. And hasn't been seen since.
Man, he sucks!
Yeah,
most
he
normal
does.
superhero
Last
in
but not
Ohio.
least, it's Starlight, the youngest member of the team, and maybe the girl you know next door. Ah, she's so relatable.
Starlight is quite literally a new light amongst the hardened, experienced veterans of the Seven. By absorbing electricity from nearby sources, she can emit beams of light-emitting plasma. Look too closely, and you might be blinded by her brilliance.
She's skilled in Taekwondo, and like most of the soups, except the douche over there, she's super tough, like when she took 2 straight shots to the chest from a Serbu BFG-50 rifle, and got right back up. And you can pick yourself up too with Wish Skincare by Starlight. Wait, what did I just read?
Unfortunately, this rookie's early days with the Seven weren't the kindest, as she found herself among a bad crowd. The same people who murdered her shining teammate, Translucent.
Billy Butcher, Mother's Milk, Kimiko, Q Campbell, and this guy who's not yet been identified, but we're pretty sure he's French.
Imagine men on the run, wanted across the world, their faces memorized by every officer in every precinct. But most importantly, hunted by the
French.
Seven themselves. These criminals aren't men, they're boys. And girl. And a girl. They're inclusive.
They aren't special, they're nobodies, like Huey. He's a normal, everyday salesman at some dinky electronics store who just took a collateral incident a bit too personally. So what if a soup splattered your girlfriend all across the pavement? Vought's lawyers let us know he's not legally responsible.
Now, just to prove there's no bias on our part, Mother's Milk is a family man, Frenchie is a victim of abuse looking after others, and Kimiko is a refugee hiding from terrorists.
And yet, these slums decided to assault our country's finest. I mean, the superheroes. All thanks to their leader, the diabolical Billy Butcher. He's a violent lunatic, and he's not even a real American.
What's with the accent? What's with yours?
That must be why he hates Homelander so much. I mean, it's not like Homelander is the bad guy. He's a perfect Boy Scout who grew up playing catch with his father like a normal, totally sane person. He couldn't actually be the villain here, unless everyone is lying.
He's perfect.
But that's ridiculous. Please don't kill me.
The boys have made it their mission to figure out the best way to kill every soup in town.
Even
Got
though
a
this is an
Starlight
ad,
problem?
it's a
EMP
fun
nearby
ad.
electronics. Is A-Train coming at you? Stick him with some epinephrine. Got an invisible man stalking you who also has indestructible skin? Jam some C4 up his butt.
S-bomb.
Translucent's powers were fascinating. While unclothed, his outer skin could turn invisible and unbreakable.
Until the S-bomb. But now that they have an open seat, I hear Vought's got eyes on a new addition to the Seven.
Makes sense. They can't exactly go around calling themselves the Six, right? That's actually a musical. I don't think they can trademark that.
And now that the Seven are joining our heroes in camo, I'm sure they'll take care of Butcher and the boys sooner than later.
To see how they handle such a rogue firsthand, we will be including Billy Butcher in today's Battle Royale. For however long he survives.
So let's get to the fight simulation already.
And now the actual animation.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities and corporate guidelines.
It's time for a death battle!
I hope that didn't get like the stream copyright flag for just showing footage from the boys. They got
And
permission.
here they are, entering the arena, the Seven and other.
These apartment blocks were sanctioned for the event. Of course, the residents have been removed from their homes and fairly compensated.
These sprites are pretty good. I'm pretty sure they're just edited Marvel
And
vs.
there's
Capcom sprites.
Homelander floating above like
they
a
look good.
guardian angel.
Apt description. Homelander will act as referee just in case anyone goes too far. Even with this being a simulation, we wouldn't want anything severe to happen.
Fight!
All right, super cunts. Who's first?
Isn't it obvious, asshole? You! There's no way us, the Seven, the heroes, are gonna let you walk away.
I think I swallowed a gill. Please, you're not even a threat. I've got this.
Man, Archie Sunk would totally kick this guy's ass.
Ah, screw this rubbish. Sorry about that. Fancy another?
Oh my god!
Uh-oh! I thought this place was evacuated!
Oh no, we should probably call this off. Oh, well, you know what they say, the show must go on.
Big mistake.
Ah, shit! Shit! Can't see! You're dead! Stop it!
Disgusting.
I'll show you disgusting.
Oh, and he's got the funny laser baby that they didn't even mention before.
Fuck you.
Come on, come on!
Don't shake the baby.
Fucking diabolical.
Wow, what an upset! In a surprising turn of events, the winner is...
All right, keep calm, everyone. Everything's fine. After all, I am the only hero America needs.
What? Can he do that? Black Noir! Wait, where'd Noir go? What's going on? And where's that cheering coming from?
Well, thinking about it, even in a simulation, Queen Maeve or Butcher winning does make sense. You can learn more about it in our analysis video. But I guess it doesn't really matter when you have a pompous, narcissistic asshole like Homelander. The winner is Homelander. He's great, just great.
I have more limbs than you now. Don't worry, buddy. I'll lend you a hand.
If you want to shine like the sun.
Hey! Nice flex. How about a second round?
I love a good sequel.
And a little end
Wondering how
stinger.
and why each character won or lost? We have another video that
And
dives
they
into the
did do
scientific
like an actual like death battle style analysis for who would win. So we can check that out real quick. This is going really slow. Hold on, I might just give me a moment here. If I switch over to our Lord and Savior Google Chrome, does that make it suck less?
This episode of Death Battle is made possible by the Amazon original series, The Boys, only on Prime Video.
Moderately. Oh, maybe not.
You ever wondered who
Computer, please.
would win in a battle royale between your favorite superhero team? What about the 7 from the Amazon original series, The Boys, only on Prime Video?
It's a surprisingly close fight. Most of the 7 are fairly on par with one another. Well, except for the
Hold on. Let's maybe Where's my fucking... Yeah, let's just put that up for a moment.
This episode of Death Battle is made possible by the Amazon original series, The Boys, only on Prime Video.
The Burb. Alright, anyway, we are back.
You ever wondered who would win in a battle royale between your favorite superhero team? What about the 7 from the Amazon original series, The Boys, only on Prime Video?
It's a surprisingly close fight. Most of the 7 are fairly on par with one another. Well, except for the psychotic Ubermensch Homelander, who can fly faster than F-16s, toss baseballs into orbit, and was stated to survive every weapon in the world, quite possibly including nuclear bombs.
Yeah, old red, white, and blue balls had no business fighting his teammates.
But aside from him, even with their differing powers and skills, none of them had an obvious edge.
And that made this fight a tough beer to crack. Well, except for the aquatic asshole, the Deep. I'd say his abilities to talk to fish and breathe under the sea were useless out of the water, but they were just as useless in the water too.
And unlike his teammates, the Deep never really displayed any notable feats of strength or skill. In fact, he was kind of a dork.
To be fair, he said he could survive 2 miles under the ocean. That's some insane water pressure.
The pressure at sea level is about 14.6 pounds per square inch.
This is the part where they do all the fun math.
That's literally the pressure of air around you right now, unless you're on a mountain or something. This pressure increases by 1 atmosphere for every 10 meters you descend. So after 10 meters, it doubles, and after another, it triples, and so on.
And despite my lifelong crusade against the evils of math and the vampire god it's named after, even I can tell the Deep's body had to withstand about 4,700 pounds per square inch.
That's correct, Boomstick, but still about 10 times less than the pressure from your average bullet.
But you know who definitely was bulletproof? The all-American new girl on the block, Starlight. She tanked a...
The world just does not want me to watch this specific video, I guess.
Couple rounds from a Cerebu BFG 50A sniper rifle to the chest like nobody's business.
Starlight's impressive durability, training, and flexible energy attacks made her well-rounded. But even with the strength to lift the back end of a car, she lacked the power to compete with the rest of the cast.
Yeah, aside from blinding people, her energy blasts aren't all that crazy. They're definitely lethal to regular humans, but not necessarily other supes.
Despite the way they look, they are more than likely plasma beams that emit light rather than being pure light themselves. Otherwise, they'd normally be invisible.
And they were snails compared to the superstar speedster and pro-girlfriend murderer A-Train, who once went all out and ran a race at 371 meters
this
a
really
second.
is just
That's
like
just over
an
the speed of
extended
sound.
post-analysis where they talk about all the stuff
dodging them would be an
that they
enormous outlier.
did
Since A-Train beat Starlight pretty easy in their
go
mono-y
into
womono
in the
fight,
actual fight.
it's a safe bet the same would happen here. Or worse, like the time he turned Robin into a literal smear on the road. Again with the girlfriend murdering.
The energy to violently fragment a human body like Robin's is about 7.5 joules per
Although I
cubic
like that they
centimeter.
calc this.
Based on Robin's actress's height of 5'6", she would have an estimated 58,000 cubic centimeter volume.
That'd make A-Train's instant girlfriend murder attack worth 440,000 joules. No wonder he can pull 4 train cars behind him. Though, to be fair, that kind of attack required him to get up to top speeds and use his whole body, which isn't how he usually fights.
His effectiveness depends on the location, and he's surprisingly not very versatile. Despite his speed, he's left himself wide open for sneak attacks in the past.
So he wouldn't last long against somebody who's more skilled and
Probably
could
should put, like,
no-sell
a
his
gore
supersonic
warning on
body
this.
slam.
That's where the warrior woman Queen Maeve comes in. Based on her experience in martial artistry, she's clearly the most skilled combatant in the arena and by far the most durable.
Remember the time she stopped an armored truck with her body? Those kinds of vehicles can weigh over 11,000 kilograms and move at 75 miles per hour.
That's a kinetic energy of 6.4 million joules, over 10 times greater than A-Train's strongest attack.
And she didn't just survive it, she didn't even feel it. She cut through it like a hot knife through butter just by standing there. At her best, A-Train wouldn't be able to move her, let alone hurt her.
So out of the Deep, Starlight, and A-Train, Queen Maeve was clearly the winner.
But that's where the Cockney Super Slayer himself, Billy motherfucking Butcher, came in.
Obviously, Butcher would never win normally, but he was helped by his soup research, tenacity, and a laser baby. Which is totally cheating, but this is Butcher, so of course he would.
A big factor that helped him not get immediately stomped by the tougher soups like A-Train or Maeve was that, kinda ironically, he was just an ordinary human.
That's right, he had to be prioritized last, lest they leave themselves open to someone more obviously threatening.
This would allow Butcher time to put his soup-killing smarts to the test and strategize, like in his fight with Translucent in Season 1.
And while most of his arsenal wouldn't be too threatening, he has access to weapons through his contacts designed to take on some of the 7.
But let's be real, the big one here was the laser baby. That was an insta-win against everybody, even Maeve.
The baby's I-beams are plasma, which is absurdly hot ionized gas. Plasma has an energy density of 10 billion joules per cubic meter. By measuring the volume of the baby's beams, they'd have to be emitting over 14 billion joules per attack.
That's over 2,000 times more powerful than that truck Maeve stopped. That queen got slayed.
Really, the only concern Butcher had was A-Train blitzing him and stealing the baby before he could even use it.
But since A-Train didn't know jack about it, there's no way he'd have gone for it before getting diced, especially since Butcher played it smart and kept his trump card hidden as long as possible.
Of the 7, minus Homelander, Maeve proved herself to be the strongest, toughest, and the most skilled, making her victory in a battle royale all but assured.
Until Butcher showed up with a laser baby. Then he butchered the competition.
I feel like that one was too easy.
Star lighten up, Wiz. Maybe it was, but I've A-trained in the art of the pun. I figured a joke any more deep might not have homelanded.
The winner is Billy Butcher. Was, until Homelander brutally murdered him.
And with that, our contract with Bot is over. Kiss my ass, you corporate yuppie freaks.
I can't believe they were gonna out us for or all those poor.
Yeah, that last one was definitely a war crime. Wait, are we still recording?
Oh, turn it off. Thank you for watching. This battle was ridiculously fun to put
I
together.
love
And that's
the
in large
Amazon
part thanks to
original
Amazon Prime
series
Video
The
not only
Boys, which you
sponsoring
can
it,
watch
but
now
trusting us to
on
do
Prime Video. Anyway, here's the episode we actually care about. It's Winter Soldier versus Red Hood. If this loads, God,
We just want to say thanks to Samsung and AT&T for sponsoring this episode.
Computer.
Samsung's newest phone, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G, powered by AT&T 5G, is available now.
Crappy laptop.
5G requires compatible plan and coverage not in all areas.
The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G comes with a 120Hz adaptive display that Sidekicks. Every good superhero or world-conquering scientist needs one, right, Boomstick?
That's right. Hey, I think we all know which one of us is the real sidekick here.
Such as the Winter Soldier, Marvel's brainwashed assassin.
And Red Hood, DC's resurrected Robin turned vigilante. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. World War II. As strange as it is to name a war a sequel like some sort of movie, it was a time of turmoil across the globe. The brave and patriotic did their part, including one James Buchanan Barnes, known by his friends as Bucky.
As a young lad, Bucky ripped open a standard superhero booster pack to find classic cards like Dead Parents and Deep Desire to Fight for Justice.
And that combo served him well in the U.S. military. He joined at the age of 15 and eventually got recruited for special assignments and training with British commandos.
That doesn't
Not
seem...
long after that, he became friends with his own personal hero.
Were they
and
recruiting
the country's favorite Boy
15-year-olds
Scout,
in World War
Captain
II?
America.
Bucky was initially unaware of the captain's secret identity until one night he walked in on Steve Rogers changing into his costume.
Well, I
God
guess
damn
that's
it.
one way to get to know a guy. Luckily, Cap had a lot of faith in Bucky and asked
Gosh,
him to become his
gee
partner
whiz,
in crime.
golly.
Through hero work, they fought side by side, kicking Nazi ass throughout the rest of the war.
The duo seemed to be unstoppable until one fateful mission when they leapt after a plane to catch Nazi scientist Baron Zemo.
Fortunately for Bucky, he was able to grab onto the plane, while Cap fell into the ocean to nab his last diving merit badge. Get it? Cause he's a Boy Scout.
Unfortunately for Bucky, the plane was booby-trapped and exploded. It appeared as though the captain's loyal sidekick had been killed.
But the ones we love in comic books never truly leave us.
Sometime after the war, a Russian submarine discovered Bucky's body preserved in the icy waters of the English
Winter
Channel.
Soldier
They
is
decided
like
to scoop
such
him
a
up and
cool
experiment
character.
on him. Cause why not? Who could pass up a free body you found? Even if it was missing an arm.
Bucky's training and experience made him the perfect candidate as the ultimate assassin. And after they revived and brainwashed him, they outfitted him with a shiny new bionic arm.
Turning Bucky into the Winter Soldier.
Along with this new persona, the Winter Soldier sported a sundry of skills throughout his career that made him a killing machine. For starters, he was injected with the Infinity Formula,
which permanently increased his physical ability to an enhanced state.
This made him quite the formidable foe even for Captain America, a foe who seemingly abandoned the values the duo previously shared.
These two have fought plenty of times, and Bucky's been able to hold his own against his former partner.
His advanced strength and speed, coupled with his knowledge of various fighting styles, make for a lethal combination. He's skilled in everything from hand-to-hand close-quarters combat to an impressive arsenal of ranged weaponry.
Oh yeah, he's got a ton of sweet guns that are outfitted with some nifty palm print sensors, so only he can shoot them.
If anyone other than the Winter Soldier
Does
tries
he
to
have
use his
a
firearms,
palm
they will
on his-
self-destruct. He also
like a
wields
special
a katana,
palm on his
throwing
metal
knives,
arm?
pretty much whatever comes in the welcome bag at Assassin Con.
Always a good time at AsCon.
But we can't forget his most iconic piece, the arm.
Well, I mean, it's definitely the coolest metal arm I've ever seen.
What about mine? I made it myself.
Come on, Wiz, look at that thing. His is super buff, plus it's got a flamethrower, a retractable blade, it can emit electric charges, and it's so strong, knives break on impact.
It's not about the size of the arm, it's how you use it. Well, sure, it's strong, but it's not indestructible. It's been torn up by a vibranium sword.
Wait, I thought the arm was made of vibranium.
You're thinking of the movies. In the comics, Bucky did not receive a vibranium arm birthday present from T'Challa. Canonically, his arm is made up of strong but unspecified metals, likely a form of titanium alloy similar to the Iron Man suit.
Even without vibranium, it's tough to keep up with Bucky. He took a direct shot from Iron Man's repulsor blast, which was strong enough to tear through a helicopter moments later.
And consider the heroes he's battled: Wolverine, Daredevil, Iron Man, and obviously Captain America.
It's a shame Bucky and Cap were at odds for so long. They should have just knocked him on the head real good. That's the scientific way to get people to remember who they are, right?
Or you can use a cosmic cube to rewrite their memories. That's what Captain America did
Wow,
to save Bucky.
they do have it.
So
Square.
He just straight up crushed the cube with his bare bionic hand.
While this brought him back, Bucky wasn't the same man who went into those icy waters. His remorse for his crimes was tough to overcome, and he would always wonder if he's done enough good to finally redeem himself.
But thankfully, it was hard to shake everything
Yeah,
he
he
learned
wasn't
from his
Marvel
hero,
Infinite.
Steve. Bucky returned to fighting for justice, and even took up the shield himself for a while.
Proving that, despite his sordid past, Bucky's persistence and resilience makes him a hero in his own right.
Oh wow, good clip for showing what the Winter Soldier can do.
When you think
Diddy
of the
Kong.
word sidekick, who immediately comes to mind?
You. It's you.
No, Robin, the boy wonder, Batman's iconic crime-fighting partner.
Yeah, it's a close second. Too bad the Cape Crusader sidecar has been a revolving door of orphans and acrobats.
Not including alternate universes and what-if stories, Batman has taken 5 different Robins under his bat wing. Some moved on to pursue a superhero career of their own. Others didn't turn out so lucky.
Enter Jason Todd. This poor kid was given the short end of the stick, and then the fans beat him to death with it.
Jason grew up on the streets of Gotham, getting by through a life of petty crime, until eventually running into the Batman himself.
By trying to steal the rims off the Batmobile. This kid's got some serious balls. I mean, you can't exactly look at the damn Batmobile and mistake it for someone else's car.
Bruce had recently split up with the first Robin, Dick Grayson, and was on the lookout for a new sidekick. Impressed by Jason's scrappiness and latent ability, he had the 12-year-old suit up. Yes, he really was 12.
Yikes. Well, creepy child abducting habits aside, Bats hoped he could live up to the last Robin. Too bad this was a literal dick measuring contest that Jason had no chance in.
Despite some moderate success, Jason wasn't exactly an extraordinary Robin. And the fans saw it too. In an unprecedented move, DC asked their readers to vote on whether or not Jason Todd would live or die.
Yep, they voted to kill the shit out of that kid, Joker style. On an unrelated note, if you want to see Wiz die a horrible, gruesome death that will lead to some serious mental health issues, call 555-2337 or 555-BEER.
Beer.
Jason Todd was dead. Until Superboy Prime punched a hole in the fabric of reality and accidentally brought him back. True story, don't ask.
And after a dip in a magic hot tub, the Lazarus Pit, Jason was back in top form. Take that, readers! Your contribution means nothing!
Resolve renewed, Jason donned a new identity inspired by his own killer, the Red Hood.
While the freaky death pit did bring him back stronger and faster, it turns out resurrection comes at a price. Jason was already a hothead, but Red Hood had a serious temper with violent outbursts. He wasn't alright in the noggin.
But he had a goal: destroy Batman and show him his humane methods were unfit for saving Gotham City.
If Bats had actually killed the Joker way back when, he never would have killed Jason in the first place. For a raging psychopath, he's not exactly wrong. Where Batman failed, Jason was up for the task. He pushed himself to become a killing machine even Bruce would have a tough time keeping up with.
Even training with the League of Assassins and the All Cast, a group of monk assassins.
So much ass stuff in this episode.
In addition to Red Hood's wide array of skills, he also maintains a serious collection in his arsenal. Most obviously, his armored cowl. While it provides him with sturdy protection, the sensors within also allow him to scan his surrounding area, neutralizing any potential stealth threats. Plus, the hood can also explode, so that's convenient.
Sounds like my new hangover recipe. On top of the red chrome dome, Jason packs all sorts of knives, explosives, guns, and he even once summoned these weird magic swords called the All Blades to fight off supernatural threats.
But probably most important is his continual use of venom.
Wait. What's the symbiote doing here?
No, the venom drug. It's what Bane uses to get all, swole.
Wiz, have you ever been to the gym? Like, even once?
Dummy.
I'm here to carry your arbitrary burdens.
Venom is an addictive steroid that increases strength and stamina tenfold.
Wiz needs to
a
eat
normal
a
dose also affects the mind, dumbing it down and causing bouts of rage. But Jason's
superpowers, here I come! You can call me the Red Neck!
No, you're supposed to inject it!
Dummy, clean that up.
Using venom has made Red Hood strong enough to fight off monsters twice his size, tear through alien tendrils, and even once break the grip of Supergirl.
He can hold up a small part of a collapsing building, dodge bullets, and even once survived an all-cast ritual called the Cleansing, which no human has been able to do in over 1,000 years.
And while it was difficult to determine if this feat was due to Jason's worthiness or stubbornness, it's safe to say that either way, he's a tough guy.
Tough enough to punch through a submarine hull, or at least he carries enough explosives to blow a hole through it. Either way, I wouldn't want to go one-on-one with this guy.
Red Hood also has plenty of that bat-like stealth ability to match his brute strength.
He was able to sneak away from Super Gruel. Even Bruce will be proud of that one.
Despite how Jason tried to kill him. But the Red Hood failed and was left to re-examine his own personal code. He ultimately decided to be a hero again, albeit a very conflicted one.
He even teamed up with Bats and
He's
even worked alongside
some sort
other
of
Robins.
anti-hero.
He also leads a group of ragtag heroes called the Outlaws.
The roller coaster of Red Hood's crime-fighting career has, at best, landed himself in that anti-hero sweet spot, and at worst, made him a violent vigilante who takes the law into his own hands.
Those are the heads of all your lieutenants. That took me 2 hours. You want to see what I can get done in a whole evening?
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, if you're into pulse-pounding shows with assassins like these, check out HBO Max.
We wanted to give a big thank
No,
you
I
to
don't
HBO
think I will.
Max for being the presenting sponsor.
It's time for a death battle!
Oh yeah, did I mention that this is another live action battle?
It's me. What do you want, Bruce? 8 assassins from the League of Shadows were gunned down 2 miles from your current location. Sounds like a party. They were all shot with rounds from a modified M4. A gun I know is in your arsenal. As much as I'd love to take credit for that one, it wasn't me. Don't lie to me. It wasn't me, Bruce. But you know what? You can count on me to crack the case. In fact, I believe there's a bit of evidence that demands my attention right now. Jason.
A gun I know is in your arsenal. Look, he's got Big Belly Burger. And now I want a burger.
Shit.
Already, this is like so much better than the first live action fight that they had. Like, look at this set they've got. And like, this is they filmed this like right before COVID happened as well, so like they timed it perfectly.
Bar's closed.
That shot's so good. Also, apparently Bucky's metal arm is CG. Like, that's not some sort of, like makeup or prop. That's all CG.
My turn.
Yeah, it's such like a cool setting for this. This like diner bar.
He's not coming. No one.
Shut up! Sorry, Bruce. Now you're dead.
The deep voice filter might be a little goofy. Okay, and the kill's a little lame.
This is Agent Barnes. Target eliminated.
But other than that, this one's really good. This one's really good.
KO! Oh, talk about a headache.
These two were quite evenly matched. They both had wells of experience,
This is
similar
another
arsenals,
like
and an
one
unparalleled
that like
drive to win.
takes
They even
advantage.
had almost identical
This
speed
takes
and
advantage of the
reactionary
live
feats,
action,
and Jason definitely had better stealth
format.
skills.
However, Bucky Barnes earned the
'Cause
edge
it's-
in almost every
it's a
other
good,
way.
Like how
hand-to-hand
Red Hood had
and
plenty of
weapons
experience
fight,
training with
'cause these
Batman
are
and
lower,
Assassin,
like, street
but
level
Wendy had
characters.
decades of training on him
But
with
they can
Commandos,
show
as
off
the
their
captain's
strengths
side
well
piece,
in live
an emo
action.
assassin, and even has Captain America himself.
The Winter Soldier also had an edge in defense. His metal arm was able to shatter a knife on impact, but when Red Hood took a similar hit, his helmet cracked.
Red really didn't have any way to stop that arm for good, or Bucky's superhumanness. Sure, using Venom could even the playing field for a short time, but a brief power-up is nothing compared to a metal arm and the permanent Infinity Formula.
And don't take Jason breaking Supergirl's grip out of context. She wasn't expecting the Venom, and they weren't even fighting in the first place. It's interesting, but not nearly as noteworthy as it sounds.
Don't misinterpret
Yeah, we know
this
for a fact
feed.
Venom is a 10-time strength booster. There's no way Red could match a Kryptonian in a real brawl.
Red Hood was a deadly combatant, but the Winter Soldier one-upped him with superior experience, survivability, and a consistent strength advantage.
Looks like Bucky was the winter.
The winner is the Winter Soldier.
Thanks for watching this episode of Death Battle. Come back next week to see previews of our upcoming matchups. If you want to watch more stuff, you can click the boxes right around here, and you can always pick up some DB merch at store.roosterteeth.com.
Not anymore, you can't.
So many snacks, so little time.
Oh yeah, next time is
Ragnarok?
Venom versus Krona. If you haven't noticed, by the way, I hope you like Marvel and DC, because one thing that this season gets some flack for is that they use a lot of Marvel and DC characters. I think literally half the episodes
This episode of Death Battle is
of the
sponsored by
season
AT&T
have
5G.
at least one Marvel or DC combatant. Hold on, give it a moment.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by AT&T 5G.
We wanted to give a big shout out to AT&T for helping us throw a huge RTX this year. Without them, the show wouldn't have been possible.
AT&T's 5G network is now available nationwide,
cool. Thanks,
whether you're at
AT&T.
home or on the...
We're just gonna skip forward a little bit to the cool part of the video.
It's always nice to have a best friend attached to your hip, like me and my shotgun leg.
But these two take their friends even further than that.
Venom, the lethal symbiote, and Spider-Man.
Pause. Cause, oh god, this quality. Why is it like this tonight? Jeez. But also, hold on.
It's always nice to have a best
but
friend
look, Hunter
attached to your
mentioned.
hip, like me.
Can we get this to 1080p, please? And thank you.
Like me and my shotgun leg.
But these two take their friends even further than that.
Venom, the lethal symbiote, and Spider-Man's
I mean,
best
some
frenemy.
people are kind of upset about this
Krona,
matchup
the
because you
deadly
took a
demon sword
cool and
from
interesting
Soul Eater.
character like
He's
Krona
wielding
and just
And
put him
it's our
against
job to analyze
someone
their
like
weapons, armor, and
just
skills
some
to find
comic
out who
book
would
guy.
win. Death
Venom's
battle.
cool, but this is another
At the beginning of
kind
time,
of
in the
surface level
faraway
connection
reaches of
episode.
space, the Clintar rose from a living darkness. One of these amorphous symbiotes was Venom.
Who was a freaking loser? Hey, don't look at me. All the goop aliens were saying it. So they kicked the poor slime ball straight off the planet.
In its
Although this
exile,
is
the
still
symbiote
probably
underwent a number
better
of
than Venom's
misadventures
other
which firmly
episode.
shaped its personality.
Venom
it bonded
versus
to a
Bane
heroic
back from
Kree soldier
season
rescuing
3.
refugees, a violent monster who committed genocide, and apparently Deadpool.
Damn, no wonder Venom's so messed up in the head.
Eventually, the symbiote was discovered by Peter Parker, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
It gave him a pretty slick black suit and awesome new powers. But after finding out it was a confused, raging, psychopathic alien, Pete decided to exercise it with the power of Christian Rock.
A wise decision, although ill-timed, as this event would cause the symbiote to finally meet its greatest partner, Edward Brock.
Eddie was a journalist with the unluckiest backstory ever. While trying to uncover the identity of a serial killer, he blamed the wrong guy. The same day he published his article, Spidey caught the real killer, who lived right next door to the dude Eddie blamed.
Long story short, Eddie was fired from his job, divorced by his wife, and disowned by his father.
And hey, they've
Who
got all this
already
cool
blamed
new
Eddie for
footage
his
from the
wife
Venom
dying in
movie that they can
childbirth.
use.
On top of all of that, Eddie learned he developed adrenal cancer, with only a few months left to live.
Man, and I thought 2020 was rough. I almost don't blame him for becoming a supervillain.
With all hope lost, he begged God to take it all away, and got an answer. The symbiote.
Just like Captain Planet, with their powers combined, these two losers became a super loser. Well, no, they actually became a horrifying monster with all of Spider-Man's powers and then some.
Their mutual hatred of Spider-Man caused the symbiote to bond to Eddie like no host ever before. They were perfect, a terror in the night, an unstoppable demon. They were Venom.
It even cured Eddie's cancer.
Sort of. It's complicated.
Apart from Spider-Man's webbing and web-crawling powers, Venom can use shape-shifting to mold his body into cool doodads. Swords, shields, tendrils, worm monster things, even wings. Yeah, imagine seeing this guy flying outside your window at night. Well, good luck sleeping ever again.
Venom can camouflage his entire body, heal severe wounds like impalement and lost limbs, see all around him at once, and psychically project emotions onto others.
Normally, this just makes people feel sorry for themselves, like Wiz on Tinder. But one time he convinced a bunch of other symbiotes that life was meaningless and they killed themselves. Shit, that's dark.
If desperate, the symbiote can even invade the bodies of others and make them burst from inside out.
Gross and awesome. But if he doesn't want to pop them like a fun balloon, he can just take over their body like a creepy puppet master.
While attached to a victim, Venom can control them by fusing the symbiote to their nervous system, specifically the brainstem and frontal lobes. Fighting off this mind control is extremely difficult unless you have powers that can directly counter it, such as another symbiote.
Oh god, aliens, tentacles, and mind control? Are we sure this episode is rated E for everyone, or do we need to start blurring stuff?
Don't worry. Aside from being a horrible mass murderer, Venom's stories are completely wholesome.
Shut up, Boomstick.
Right.
Venom proved a dangerous thorn in Spider-Man's side and frequently ruined his life. Even taking a page out of my favorite book, The Most Dangerous Game, and hunting him on a private island.
Yeah, he was the coolest rival ever, but over the years, things kinda calmed down a bit. They even teamed up every so often.
See, even with so much anger, Eddie had a legitimate desire to protect others. As a teenager stealing his dad's car, he accidentally ran over and killed a child. Despite his desire to confess, his father forced him to plead innocent and rigged the jury. The guilt has weighed him down ever since. So while Venom does have a hunger for human brains, he'd rather eat the face off a criminal than an innocent person.
Venom's as tough as they come. He's survived Ghost Rider's penance stare. He's strong enough to toss a tank hundreds of feet up, and fast enough to take down Spidey 2099, who once caught Mjolnir while it was moving 2,000 times the speed of sound.
Although Venom does not possess the spider sense that allows Parker to react in microseconds, he can still keep up with all the usual Spidey gallery. Plus, while symbiotes have a severe weakness to high-pitched sound and heat, he's developed resistances to them.
In that
like
last
when he
panel.
took this giant explosion, or when he survived a sonic scream from some mutant gremlins that shattered all glass within 10 miles.
While he may be tougher to take down than most other symbiotes, Venom never fully overcame his weaknesses. However, his symbiotic genes provide far more help than harm. This includes traits and memories from other hosts, like Scorpion and Flash Thompson.
Wait. Bullets are a genetic trait? How do I pass that down?
Venom would certainly need a lot of firepower to survive an encounter with the symbiote god.
Oh, geez, here we go.
At first, the Clintar
Oh,
symbiotes
yeah, also
were seen as a
retcon.
peaceful people. But turns out they were actually living weapons forged by the primordial deity Null in an attempt to conquer the universe.
And I bet next up, Marvel decides they're magic maple syrup people from Asgardian IHOP. But okay, cosmic sludge made by alien Satan. Let's go with that.
Despite it all, Eddie and the symbiote have proven they're far more than the dark legacy the Clintar were intended for. They've even gained the respect of the Avengers and eventually considered Spider-Man a friend. Sort of. It's complicated.
Eddie really is the best pal Venom could have found. And let's be real, he just looks freaking badass.
See us everywhere, even in your nightmares.
And
In
now
ancient
Krona.
times, a demonic being
Soul
known as
Eater's
the
a good
Kishin
series.
ravaged humanity,
I would recommend
nearly
reading
driving
Soul
all
Eater. It's very
mankind
good.
into the depths of madness. This monster could only be defeated and sealed away by the god of death.
So, why is the literal god of death so goofy looking? Have you ever seen Death Note? Hell, even Thanos' girlfriend is scarier than this clown.
If you are unfamiliar with the world of Soul Eater, prepare yourself. It's different.
Well, not one in a return of the apocalypse, Death and his oven mitts founded a school, Death Academy.
Here, warriors called Meisters would train to fight evil using the power of their souls.
They even got neat demon weapons that doubled as people. Together, they learned courage, chivalry, unbreakable friendship. You know, all that anime crap.
Krona Gorgon was not one of these students.
Buckle up, it's all Gloomsville from here. Deal with
Krona's
it.
I don't
cool.
think I know how to deal with this situation.
Throughout their childhood, Krona was abused by their mother,
Krona's-
Medusa, a
Krona's
witch
non-binary,
obsessed
by
with
the
the
way.
legendary Kishin.
You can see where this is going. Anime Uma Thurman was such a fangirl, she figured.
That's why I
hey,
used
why
the
don't I
image
make
for
my
the
own
stream
Kishin?
starting
So
soon.
she used
Because
her
it's
child
this
as a
episode
guinea
is
pig in a
Venom
bunch of
versus
crazy
they them
experiments.
pronouns.
You know, it kind of sounds like something you do, Wiz.
Don't be silly, I only use actual guinea pigs. Part of Medusa's great experiment included bonding Krona to a weapon, much like the Meisters of Death Academy. However, joining with Ragnarok was a bit more literal.
Ragnarok used to be your run-of-the-mill transforming weapon person until Medusa melted him alive in black blood.
Black blood being another experiment of hers. Krona's own blood is, in fact, this same black blood, which they can remotely control. It can be used to heal wounds and even harden as a sort of internal armor.
Cooking rags and black blood turned him into a brand new weapon that was literally poured into Krona's bloodstream.
From that point on, Krona and Ragnarok were two halves of the same person. The meek and tortured child firmly attached to their loud and brazen weapon.
And Raggy has that black blood control too. They can yank poor Krona around like a puppet. They can use black blood to create wings, thorny vines, all kinds of weapons, and big-ass needles. Ugh, I hate needles. What's up with that mouth when he transforms into a sword? That thing's messed up.
Like the Meisters, Krona can wield their own soul in combat, amplified by Ragnarok as a technique called scream resonance. Think of it like hooking an electric guitar up to an amp, though more akin to a screeching banshee on LSD.
I didn't know you play.
I don't. It's incredibly powerful, causing internal damage to foes and making Ragnarok vibrate to increase his cutting power. Hey, are you okay?
What?
With this weapon at their side, Krona set out on a quest to become a Kishin, which required quite a lot of homicide.
Yeah, Ragnarok can absorb the souls of dead people, and supposedly enough souls will turn Krona into the Kishin. So they went around slaughtering hundreds of people.
Despite their name, Death Academy wasn't exactly a fan, particularly their star student, Maka Alburn.
Don't worry, she and Krona ended up becoming good friends. Until they weren't.
Yeah.
Sort of. It's complicated.
As a pawn in Medusa's mission, Krona gained
Soul
several
Eater's
levels
weird.
of new potential. Notably, after gaining or absorbing the powers of the monstrous Black Clown, the demon tool Brew, and even Ashura, the original Kishin.
All of which increased Krona's abilities, especially the black blood. Now Krona could turn their entire body into goop, and the slightest touch could inflict madness. That's madness with a capital M, by the way.
This madness is a corruptive effect that causes targeted variants of delusion or obsession, often spread as a wavelength. The wavelength of Krona's mad blood specifically causes violent psychosis.
Krona may be a pawn, but they're a badass. They can cut through a whole ghost ship, cover the moon with sound waves, open the moon's mouth? What the hell is wrong with that moon?
Krona and Ragnarok have held their own against multiple Death Academy students, including Maka, Death the Kid, and Black Star.
Sometimes all at once.
Kid once flew from Nevada to Egypt in less than a minute, and Black Star is even faster. He's dodged lasers and been tracked moving over 20 kilometers in 6 microseconds while approaching Baba Yaga Castle.
And Krona's been able to make enough mad blood to crush a whole goddamn Ukrainian city.
While this city isn't named, we can use a similar metropolitan area in Ukraine, Kiev, for instance. With this in mind, Krona must have created over 9 trillion tons of black blood, enough to fill over 6 billion Olympic swimming pools.
But Krona's a big leap from invincible. They've had their shit kicked in plenty of times, and their hardened black blood can only block so much.
Even then, Medusa's plan ultimately succeeded. After years of scheming, Krona absorbed the power of Ashura and became a
Oh yeah,
Kishin.
this is all
Well,
big
more
Soul
like
Eater
Kishin
spoilers,
absorbed
by the
Krona,
way.
but close enough.
But with the power of friendship, Krona ironically wound up defeating the Kishin once and for all. Despite their life being nothing but destruction, Krona was the one who ultimately saved the world.
With an added side effect of a new madness wavelength that made everyone obsessed with boobs. Truly a positive effect on people everywhere.
Just give up. I'm tired of trying to figure out how to deal with you.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, instead of chewing on brains and souls, how about chewing on blue?
This episode is
No,
sponsored
thank
by
you,
Blue
Boomstick.
Chew. If you want to increase your performance confidence in
Bloomstick.
during this episode.
But right now, it's time for a death battle!
Hold on. Sorry, I just noticed we're dropping hella frames. Oh, God, come on. Come on, give it a moment. All right. Are we back? I think we're back. Okay. Hey, at the very least, maybe that helped people dodge the Soul Eater spoilers. Damn it, we had just gotten, like, another viewer as well. Why must fate be so cruel? Ugh. Anyway, fortunately I was able to stop it right before the fight begins, because this is the best part.
Hello? I want to be alone.
Hey, pay attention, you turd. Aha, lucky day. 2 brains for the price of 1.
I don't think I can handle this right now.
Your mind is ours. Dinner time.
This is an instance where this sort of stiff puppet rigging actually kind of works in their favor, because that's just kind of how Krona moves.
He's gone? What is he?
We are the ones hiding under your bed. Teeth ground sharp and eyes glowing red. Your blood.
I know. It's black.
Wake up, stupid!
Oh yeah, Soul Eater's a goofy series. I think you'd really like it. I'd recommend the manga over the anime, though. Anime's not great.
Darkness. We are your nightmare. We are Venom.
I hate you.
Creepy. And
Man,
not bad.
these symbiotes really need to
But I
stop
mean,
picking fights with pink-haired anime characters.
They-
They're f***ing crazy.
They
Venom
put the
was
character
certainly a
who's
tricky
weak
opponent.
to
His
sound
shape-shifting
against the
camouflage
character
and
who
multitude of
uses
weapons kept
sound
Krona
to
on
attack.
guard. Unfortunately, Venom lacked
So I don't
the
know what
power
they
needed
expected
to
to
keep up a
happen.
prolonged fight.
Yeah, Krona matching Black Star's speed
So
makes for a
was
pretty
even.
clear difference. Krona could reach Mach 9,000, while Venom only topped out around Mach 2,000.
And while Venom has shown incredible physical strength that puts Spider-Man to shame, he could never compete with 9 trillion tons of Mad Blood.
Which, by the way, that precise control of the black blood totally meant Krona could push out any of Venom's attempt at being a puppeteer.
And Krona's shown even greater feats of strength as well. Assuming all of the moon's teeth are similar in size and stone, opening this jaw is equivalent to lifting over 10,000 tons.
Of course, the final nail in Eddie's coffin was the fact that half of Krona's arsenal was sound-based, basically Venom's kryptonite.
Somewhat. Recall that Venom did gain a notable resistance to sound attacks, so we needed to determine if Krona's sonic waves were great enough to effectively harm him.
You know those gremlins who shattered every window in 10 miles with a screech attack? The symbiote barely survived it, so that's a good high end to look at.
It takes at least 100 decibels to shatter glass normally. To cover that much distance, the combined sonic blast must have equaled about 244 decibels. In contrast, in order to engulf the moon, Krona's sonic waves must have reached over 275 decibels.
Sound is life-threatening.
And yes, that's considering the weird size and shape of the moon. Just look at that freaky thing.
Sure, 275 doesn't seem that much more than 244, but decibels increase on a logarithmic rate. This means Krona's sound attack was actually over 1,000 times stronger.
Vinny for sure wasn't surviving that.
Eddie and the symbiote held their own with versatility, but Krona and Ragnarok had them beat in destructive power, blistering speed, and an arsenal that could take advantage of Venom's key weakness.
Looks like Venom just got Ragnarok.
Yeah.
The winner is Krona.
I think they made a crack about that where it's like,
Come back next week to see previews of our upcoming matchups. If you want to watch more stuff, you can click the boxes right around here.
The pink-haired anime
and you can always pick up
characters
some DB
destroy
merch at
the
store.roosterteeth.com.
But next time, and I think...
Blue team! This is the red team! We are here to destroy you!
I got a tank! People with tanks are never outnumbered.
Is that the next one? I think they switched the schedule around. Yeah. So this is a lie. The next one, and our last one for the evening, is their Halloween special. Saberwolf versus John Talbane. Which is, of course, a banger matchup. If my internet decides to fucking work. And hey, this is the first time Darkstalkers has been on the show since season 1.
Before we get to today's death battle, we just want to thank HBO Max for sponsoring this episode.
Give him the deets, Ringmaster.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
I guess I should talk about this guy as well. This is Ringmaster, who is the host of DBX, which is their spin-off series.
Wait, really? I didn't know they have anime.
Time to get your
So he's a part of their lore.
Start streaming today. Download the app or visit hbomax.com to start your...
Come on.
Pre-trial.
Work with me
You got
here.
that? Okay.
Please.
Time for the main event. Let's get this death
I do like
battle
his design.
started.
I want to eat his hair. It looks like one of those like swirly like pastries.
Sir Thomas Browne once said, "Every man is his own greatest enemy, and as it were, his own executioner." For many, every day is a struggle to restrain the beast within.
Or else you might turn into a big old honking werewolf.
Such as Saberwolf,
alpha
the savage
male.
wolfman of killer instinct.
And John Talbane, the Kung Fu Canine Darkstalker. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Deep in the heart of Germany's Black Forest lies the ruins of Saberwolf Castle, home to a monster of unspeakable ferocity.
I mean, duh, it's called Saberwolf Castle. What else do you expect?
But that monster used to be a man, Baron Conrad von Saberwolf.
His last
Once
name
an
is
aristocrat of wealth and
Saberwolf.
status, his life would drastically change the day he discovered
Also
a
called
secret
him
laboratory
an
deep within the castle's bowels.
He stumbled onto a
Him
treasure
an
trove of monster hunting weapons and relics straight out of his family's secret history.
Including a mysterious large claw, which he accidentally cut himself on. Upon the light of the next full moon, the Baron transformed into...
A vampire!
No, a werewolf. This is the werewolf episode.
Come on, Wiz. Spooky castle in the middle of nowhere, a weird cursed artifact. He's got Vaughn in his name. This is totally a vampire backstory.
Now, that's for next year.
Yeah,
On
foreshadowing.
That night, Baron Saberwolf became a bloodthirsty beast.
You know, the name really screwed him from the start there. Almost like it was destiny.
Well, originating as early as classical antiquity, the fable of men turning into wolves under a full moon is a staple of European folklore. Real-life victims of so-called lycanthropy most likely suffered from porphyria, hypertrichosis, or rabies.
Sabi rampaged all over the country, killing everyone he found. Because as a big hairy demon dog, being a werewolf means your strength, speed, and tough hide are off the charts. Oh, and it makes you great at basketball.
With his razor-sharp claws, Saberwolf can easily tear through solid steel. Also, any one of his cuts can potentially pass his curse to new victims.
But he's pretty happy using those claws to brutally rush down any foe.
With a howl to the sky, Saberwolf can amp himself up, or tap into his killer instinct to enter a feral rage.
That's the name of the game.
In this state, any sense of shame or repression is eliminated as he truly becomes a mindless monster. It also increases his chip damage and allows him to cancel auto doubles into other auto...
Yeah, it makes him even more stronger and faster. We get it.
And to top it off, he can summon bats that are on fire. Gotta be honest, not sure where this one comes from.
He's a vampire in a fursuit. Called it.
After a night of painting the town red with blood, Saberwolf awoke to the nightmare that would be the rest of his life.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly a fan of the whole werewolf thing, so he did anything he could to stop being a full moon furry. But science and magic couldn't
he's
cut
drinking
He
the
descended
blue
into
sludge.
madness, but eventually found a possible savior. Your friendly neighborhood soul-crushing megacorporation, Ultratech.
AKA Evil Walmart. Or just Walmart.
Ultratech promised Saberwolf a cure for his lycanthropy.
I love,
but
like,
in reality,
old
their experiments only gave him
3D
cybernetic
stuff
implants in
like
his
that.
arm.
Cool!
And extended his werewolf form to last indefinitely.
Oh. Also cool?
But Saberwolf was none the wiser. In return for a cure that would never come, he agreed to fight on Ultratech's behalf in their Killer Instinct tournament.
What a goober! This moron ran around a creepy castle,
Drinking a
bumped
vial of
into something
Dippin'
sharp
Dots.
like a dumbass, and
It's like
now
something
he might
out
not
of,
even be potty trained.
the Food
Then he got
Fight
duped by
movie.
the most obviously evil company ever to ruin his life even more. This guy's either the unluckiest schmuck on the planet, or just high off his ass on opium.
Actually, he was dangerously addicted to opiates for a time, which only drove him further into madness.
Wow, this guy's life sucks.
Regardless,
And he has an
Saberwolf was a
opium
fierce
addiction?
competitor. Within the Killer Instinct
Amazing.
tournament, he battled and defeated a Nez Perce warrior Thunder, the metallic super soldier Fulgor, and an actual dinosaur. He's certainly among a high tier of the competition.
Like Tusk, who can summon friggin' meteors out of the sky.
Based on how large this projectile is, its impact should be equivalent to over a kiloton of TNT.
Sure, Sabi can't magically call down space rocks, but he can survive a hit like that and dish it back. In the tournament, he won 17 fights in a row.
Until he met the warrior monk Jago.
Protagonist, right? And he got his hairy cheeks clapped by an alien McFlurry named Glacius.
But even after the tournament, Saberwolf proved strong enough to tear out his own cybernetic implants. While conducting experiments on him, Ultratech's android CEO Arya had noted that the older a werewolf gets, the more vicious and skilled it becomes, while the loss in strength and agility is negligible.
And he proved it in his rematch with Glacius. Who's the clapper of cheeks now, you projectile spamming snow cone?
Most impressive, considering Glacius once got the drop on Arya, whom, according to an official novella, can react within a nanosecond.
Holy crap! He's not just your average werewolf, he's a super werewolf! A fighting tournament ass kicker!
Though he will sadly always be on the hunt for a cure that doesn't exist, Saberwolf is one of the most dangerous monsters and men to ever live.
Makes me appreciate Killer Instinct.
Welcome to the demon realm of Makai, a dimension inhabited by powerful beings known as Darkstalkers.
Basically, your classic Hollywood movie monsters mixed with anime powers.
Makai is ruled by several noble clans, including the Kroots, a family of beasts.
Like werewolves?
Including one prominent member, Baraba the Wolf Lord, who had a son named Gallon.
Oh, I love that,
Which
like,
means
90s
hungry
manga
wolf.
aesthetic.
Really thinking outside the box with that one, huh?
Perhaps he'd prefer his English name, John Talbane.
Yeah, but his dad is named a freaking Wolf Lord. That's so awesome it almost makes me forget he's a total deadbeat, just like my dad. Did I say that out loud?
Things got worse. One of the Wolf Lord's enemies, the Demon Jeddah, sent an assassin to kill John's mother.
Dick move. Moms are off limits. Now a werewolf and an
Man,
orphan,
I
John
want
grew
them
up
to
pretty pissed off at
do
just
more
about everything.
Darkstalkers
Especially the
episodes.
humans that hunted him when he transformed.
In the
Jeddah
light of a
versus
full
Dark
moon,
Schneider
John can't
when?
help but embrace his crew's heritage. And under a red blood moon, he risks losing all sense of self and becoming a ravenous beast. John's story was
Editing's
about the same
really
as any
cool.
werewolves until he happened upon a man who was also half monster and who defeated John in combat.
With martial arts. Hell yeah! I keep telling people, the only way to solve violence is with a good pair of nunchucks.
John's new friend did not offer violence, but control. Seeing little other option, John accepted a life with his new sensei.
While we don't know for sure what fighting style he was trained in, based on the time period, location, and his stance, we can guess that he was learning Shotokan karate.
Inspired by Bushido and Zen Buddhism, Shotokan karate's focus is on controlled calm, a
He's
strong
literally a
defense, and a
Shoto.
rejection of unnecessary violence. Basically the exact opposite of being a werewolf.
Well, sign me up for his doggy dojo, cause I have no idea how all that Zen stuff translates to moves like his climb chaser and wild circular. Rejection of unnecessary violence, my ass. This dude's just showing off.
By embracing his werewolf speed, John can bash foes with his nunchaku and move so fast he appears to be in two places at once.
And by tapping into his inner energy, ki, John can perform the beast cannon and rocket around the room like a doggy meteor of pain. But that's nothing compared to the almighty dragon cannon. Oh yeah! So much for being Zen, right? That dragon can incinerate a whole wall.
John's training seemed to do the trick, until his master was killed by a group of bandits.
Where was your flaming dragon there, man?
Enraged yet again by the cruelty of mankind, but tempered by his master's compassion, John became conflicted over his role in a morally gray world, unwilling to fight, but always ready.
And by combining his martial arts skills with his natural werewolf powers, he became a wolf man to be reckoned with.
His razor-sharp claws can slice through steel and even punch holes in powerful darkstalkers like Lilith.
He's also got those great
No,
doggo
it's John
senses like
Talbane.
super hearing and smell.
To
Karate
demonstrate, I've
werewolf.
modulated dummy senses up to the same degree as those of a wolf.
I see you find my frequent humiliation amusing.
Puppy.
Oh, I do. Boop.
In open climates, wolf ears can hear sounds up to 10 miles away.
Boomstick, somebody is outside stealing your dune buggy.
No, there. Wait, really?
And their sense of smell is over 100 times greater than that of a human's.
Oh good, the thief got away.
What did you smell that told you that?
Salt, lots and lots of salt.
Yeah,
With
Darkstalkers
nothing but
is
grit and a
really
thick layer
cool.
of what I'm
I
sure
love
is
the aesthetic
unreasonably
of it.
soft fur that you just want to scritch behind the ears. John
Wish they
has
would do more
survived
episodes
an
with
onslaught
it.
of missiles from the monster
Again,
hunter BB Hood.
Jeddah versus Dark
who gave
Schneider
Little Red
when?
Riding Hood military-grade ordnance. I want to shake their hand.
We've seen John dodge bullets up close, but he's bragged about being as fast as light speed.
Sure, John.
And he can take down these 5,500-pound alien robots called Heat Souls, which can fly through outer space. Also, it's worth mentioning that Darkstalker society is broken up into different classes based on the strength and power of the individual.
John is a B-plus class Darkstalker, which is way above average, so it makes sense to compare him to other B-plus classers to gauge his limits.
Like Anakaris, who sank all of ancient Egypt underground.
Or QB, who could lift a massive beehive high above this castle.
Based on its size relative to the castle,
It's
this
the
hive
girl
would have to
from
weigh
Brooklyn.
over 30 million tons.
That's like lifting over 300 aircraft carriers, and John's way more jacked than she is. And imagine getting stung by one of those bees.
Even with his amazing power, after decades of torment, John had resigned himself to a life
Is that
of misery
Comic
and solitude.
Sans
Until he met
that
the
they use
cutest
for the
cat
font
girl
there?
around. Now, we all know cats are usually super evil and Satan's presence on Earth, but Felicia taught him that humans actually aren't so bad. Wait. So years of martial arts discipline couldn't temper his bad side, but getting laid did? You know what? I believe it.
As far as we know, they're just friends.
Yeah, and I'm sure the internet could give you 34 good reasons why that's bullshit, Wiz.
Well, despite what DeviantArt thinks,
Porn.
Felicia would help John conquer his dark side.
Literally. Like, he literally fought his dark side and killed it. I always thought that was supposed to be like metaphor stuff, but I guess that isn't the weirdest thing we've talked about.
And with that victory, John finally claimed dominance
That's
over
Times
his
New
monstrous
Roman.
identity and committed himself to a life of compassion.
But John will always be a Darkstalker. If he relapses, he'll be as deadly as ever.
There will always be a monster inside of him, just waiting to be let loose.
Existence with humans is impossible. That is why we are called Darkstalkers.
Yeah.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But speaking of howling in the middle of the night, let's talk about Blue Chew.
Let's not.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the just for you. Visit bluechew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code BATTLE.
Episode time.
Forgive me.
I have no forgiveness left, monster.
Saberwolf sprite's a little weird. I don't know where they got that from. Though I suppose it's better than them using his actual Killer Instinct sprite. Song goes hard.
See you taste enticing.
Yeah, whenever they put like Paper Mario or Mr. Game & Watch on Death Battle, they should totally do that.
Taste the fury of the beast!
Not now.
Oh yeah, this one gets bloody, by the way.
No, not like him.
Oh my god.
Not like this. I'm no monster, but tonight I'll make an exception.
Brutal.
KO! Wiz, I think I need to see a therapist to tell them how awesome that was.
Saberwolf was a ferocious foe, but John had a lot going for him in most regards. For instance, John was trained in genuine martial arts and practiced them for decades, while Saberwolf relied entirely on instinct.
You mean Killer Instinct, eh? You're no fun. But hey, remember how Sabi defeated Glacius, who attacked Arya in less than a nanosecond?
Technically, that put Saberwolf's reaction capability well within light speed, which John claimed he could match.
But that was just bragging, right?
Hardly. Those Weitzel units John fought were capable of flying across the galaxy, hundreds of millions of light years in only a short time. This is important because fellow Darkstalkers Morgan and Dimitri have intercepted Weitzel's in mid-flight combat.
Yeah, those two are A-classers, but B-plus Darkstalkers like John have kept up with the higher classes in speed plenty of times. Hell, BB Hood can, and she's a C-class.
When it comes to the Darkstalker class system, speed is much less a factor than power and energy levels. To be frank, even if John was half Morgan's speed, he'd still be faster than Saberwolf. So, if anything, he wasn't bragging enough.
He was way stronger, too. QB's also a B-plus Darkstalker, and she lifted
That's
that 30
the
million
Nira
ton
Automaton
beehive
lady.
way more than anything Saberwolf can pull off. And when it came to ranged options, I think a Flaming Inferno Key Dragon beats out a lone discount fire bat any day.
While his application is different, we can gauge the level of ki John has at his disposal by factoring Anakaris sinking all of Egypt.
So the only logical thing to do was measure the total weight of ancient Egypt. No, really. We did that.
Most buildings in the period were made of
this
clay
is a
bricks
good
and about
calc.
4.3 meters tall.
How
Adding
much
the known
does
volume of the
ancient
pyramids and
Egypt
considering
weigh?
additional land, we determined Anakaris' ki had to be strong enough to move a civilization weighing over 1.2 trillion tons.
And that's not even counting all the people. Or cats. They had a shitload of cats. Now that sounds crazy for an old school horror monster like a mummy or werewolf, but Darkstalkers aren't quite like the classics.
At this fight's core, though, John won because of the kind of werewolf he was. Through years of struggle, Saberwolf never found
And
any
drink
means to
and dip
tame
in
his
dots.
savagery, while John had successfully managed to regulate his wild side. Giving a level of precision, skill, and control the poor Baron couldn't even begin to understand. Saberwolf was vicious and unrelenting, but John had the training, the power, and, yes, the flaming Inferno Dragons to score a brutal victory.
Brutal doesn't even cut it. I mean, how much blood was that? You know, it had to be at least a gallon.
The winner is John Talbane.
Thanks for watching this episode of Death Battle. Come back next week to see previews of our upcoming matchups. If you want to watch more stuff, you can click the boxes right around here, and you can always pick up some DB merch at
And I think the fight
store.roosterteeth.com.
preview for this is just the same. Yeah, it's the same red. Next episode is, hey, it's add red versus blue. Who would actually win if they actually fought? Yeah. Anyway, before we go, let's just update the tier list real quick. Let me just... Where the fuck is the thing I'm looking for? There it is. Alright, okay. So, this one is good. I'd say there. This one's also pretty good. Probably like there. This one's also very good. Probably there. This one is... This one's probably... Man, some of these are just hard to place. Oh, God, there's so many episodes this season. I think I like Miles versus Static a little more. Oh, this one, it's hard to rank because it's not a standard battle, but there, sure. Anyway, that's it for this stream. Apologies for all the technical difficulties. I'll try and get that sorted for next time. But yeah, next time we do Death Battle, we should be finishing up Season 7, moving on to Season 8. But next stream should be gaming of some sort, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you so very much for coming down. I really do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night and take care. Bye bye.